Hello, everybody. I'm Terri Stacy, and I'm at Royal Spa, Royal Spa, and I'm with my friend and co-founder of Royal Spa, Bob Dapper, is here. Hi, Bob.
Hi there.
Thank you for inviting me in. This is, I'm a Royal Spa owner, and I've known you for a long time,
That's right. At
nearly,
least 30 years.
yeah, and you've been at it for almost
This
40,
is 43.
43 years, so
Yes, it
you're getting
is.
close to 45
Yeah,
years.
that's right.
And it all started, you're a mechanical engineering student at Purdue, and you decide you want to make spas.
Well, that was tens of thousands of hot tubs ago. And so a mechanical engineering degree did come out of that. And having done as much manufacturing as we have, it's just kind of become really important that people understand the mistakes that people make when they don't know what I know about hot tubs.
When I came in here for my first hot tub from Royal Spa, there was just there were just so many to choose from, and figuring out, I guess, how many people we wanted in the hot tub. I mean, there was a lot to figure out, but you had so much to offer at that time in the beginning, and you've come such a long way with float spas and float pods, and so many other ways for us to relax, but also good for our health.
That's right. And that's what is kind of an interesting thing. The experience with working with the National Sanitation Foundation and working with all these different regulatory agencies on the development of the flotation tanks led me to understand the value of Epsom salts. And so there's always been four major rules when buying a hot tub. We call them Bob's rules.
Bob's rules.
Right. And those have existed for a long time. But this fifth rule becomes so important because people don't realize that when you buy a bowl full of hot water, you're not getting a royal spa unless you follow the five rules now. There used to be four, but four rules exist as Bob's rules. Number one is you never use a computer to operate a hot tub. A hot tub only has 3 or 4 things that it's going to do. And to use a microprocessor that does 1 billion operations per second in order to make it go is only satisfying some guy that can only sell you that control. So a Royal Spa doesn't have a computer on it. It's got a switching device that works pretty much like any air conditioning system, or it's a very simple design. And so you can fix it yourself. And that's very important to having a happy experience with owning a hot tub. And then the second Bob's rule is that you never buy a hot tub with a 2-speed pump, because a 2-speed pump puts so much energy and so much noise into the hot tub that people's experience with it is not very good, and it draws $60 or more worth of electricity than it should in a month. People don't understand that it's the pump that draws all the energy on a hot tub. It's not the heater. Yeah, so
Oh,
the energy
okay.
that the pump puts in actually will overheat the water during the summer. So almost every hot tub out there turns off for all but 8 hours a day. And if you've got stagnant water for 2/3 of the day, it's not going to look like very happy water.
No.
And friends might not want to get in with you. So you look at tubs that have a suction side filter, and they're sucking through the filter. And you say, well, if every drop of water I've ever drank was pushed through a filter, why would I want a filter that sucks? Well, my competitors do that so they can sell you a proprietary filter that you have to buy from them. My filter is available at every pool place, at every Walmart, every Home
Mm-hmm.
Depot. And the convenience of having a filter that you can get is half the battle. But the coolness of pushing through the filter and being able to go 4 months instead of 2 weeks between cleanings is an astronomical improvement.
Yeah.
Because people say, well, it's only going to be 15 minutes a week of maintenance. And so that doesn't sound like a lot. But if there are certain people that do math, they would take 52 weeks in a year,
Yeah.
multiply it times 15 minutes, and find out that that's 13 hours of maintenance.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you did 13 hours of maintenance on your car, you'd throw your car away. And so people don't even do the math to figure out, well, that might be stupid. And
I have an accounting husband, an accountant husband. He figured it
yeah,
out.
right.
Yeah. But the education that came along with purchasing a Royal Spa hot tub really made all the difference in the world,
That's
truly.
right.
And that's what you're teaching us. You've got two of them now, two of Bob's rules. What's
Right.
number three?
Well, we talked about having it have no suction side filter, having it push through the filter. We talked about it not having a 2-speed pump because it draws too much energy. We talked about it not having a computer on it, which is 3 of them. And then the last one is you just don't let a hot tub stop. So circulating a
Yeah.
tub all day, every day, allows it to purify and filter itself all the time. Because a lot of people know that you can go to the Rockies and you can drink right out of the creek running down out of the mountains,
Hmm.
but you will not drink out of the pond at the bottom
I
of the
know.
mountain. And so hot tubs,
It's not moving.
hot tubs that turn off are
Right.
just yucky, and you're like, oh my gosh, I do not want to be in that type of stagnant water, because by the time you try and kill the cooties that are trying to get going in stagnant water, you've got so much chlorine and so much bromine, and you think you've got to take a shower after every usage because you're covered in something that you don't want to smell like. Well, if you were to use something that's fun, and our next rule, the newest rule, is that we should put Epsom salts into a hot tub.
Here we go.
Here
It's
it is.
I mean,
This is
here it
big.
is. We've been hearing about this now, about Epsom salt and the true benefits of what Epsom salts can do for us.
Right. And you know that a hot tub that you buy from some mass marketer or something says put this much chlorine in or this much bromine in it.
Yeah.
Now, if chlorine and bromine in a tanker fall over in your town, they evacuate your whole town. It can't be good for you if they're
No.
evacuating people because of that. So to be able to control the bacterial activity or the cooties in a hot tub with Epsom salt seems like a lot better idea. Because in the oceans, you find potassium chloride, which is sea salt, and you see magnesium sulfate in that water.
Yeah.
And it prevents the bacteria from being able to multiply, and it makes the tub a lot easier to maintain.
You liken it to the Dead Sea.
It is, because when you change the ability of one cootie to get together with another cootie, they can't reproduce, and therefore it's a lot simpler to keep the tub perfectly clean and usable.
I love that you're using the word cootie.
Well, it goes back to our kindergarten days.
No, but I know. I remember cooties. I don't want any part of them.
That's right. And
so Epsom salts. And that is also what makes you float. When you have with the float tubs or with your float hot tubs or your float pods,
right?
That is what keeps you up. But you've gone into, you've done so much research. You're like a doctor in telling us about the benefits, and I think that's what we're all looking for right now.
Well, that's what people say, Bob. Why is Epsom salt so valuable to you? What is actually going on? I said, well, did your grandparents tell you to soak your feet in Epsom salts?
Yeah.
They go, well, yes, they did. I said, well, they didn't tell you what Epsom salts did.
Right.
And so you didn't really buy into that whole idea. And so when you talk about Epsom salts, the scientific name of it is magnesium sulfate. So you've got magnesium, you got sulfates, and all of that comes at you in a solution that the hot tub would have about 20 pounds of material in it. And that solution comes into your skin and will react first with your lymphatic system. Now, you know that your lymphatic system is the filters for your blood. So anybody that doesn't feel good has bad stuff stuck in their filters. And so by allowing the Epsom salts and the sulfates to come in and clear your lymphatic system, it gets caught in your kidneys. And then when you drink some water and you tinkle, it clears your system out. And so it can't be a bad thing to have clear filters in your bloodstream. But the next coolest thing is that the sulfates continue on through your bloodstream and convert all of your plaque cholesterol to cholesterol sulfate. Cholesterol sulfate is an essential brain nutrient, whereas cholesterol plaque is cardiovascular disease. So all of a sudden, Epsom salts is something that you really want, because none of us is getting any healthier in our bloodstream, and we're trying to guess at how to handle that. But it is absolute that sulfates will do that, and it is impossible for plaque cholesterol not to convert.
Yeah.
So that's really super. So then those are the first two good things, but then here comes the magnesium from the magnesium sulfate. And the magnesium makes contact with your neurological system, and your neurological system soaks that up, and it improves the neurological function of your synaptic membranes. And so those little synaptic devices that communicate electrical impulses, when you feel frazzled, you are. And so it becomes harder and harder for you to feel your toes, harder and harder for you to feel your fingers as you get older. Well, as the magnesium improves that back to the way that it was when you're 19 years old, you now can do a full diagnostic of your entire body through your neurological system that you haven't been able to be done since you're 19. So all of a sudden you can find things that you didn't know you had. And so that really becomes cool. So now the magnesium makes contact with your healthy cells, and it gives every cell in your body a magnesium signature that it can get no other way. See, when we farm out in the fields, we know that for over 50 years, we've been taking the same plants out of those fields. Well, the first thing that the plants grab onto when they're in the fields is magnesium. So they grab onto that magnesium and they deplete that field of magnesium over time. So after 50 years, do you think there's very much magnesium going into your food? Really can't think it would.
No, and we hear this often, and maybe some of you do too, that we lack magnesium. And so many of us do. We just don't get it in our foods, like you were saying. And we
Yeah,
don't eat the right foods that bring us that magnesium that we truly do need to build you manufacture, you build these hot tubs and always have
right,
in your nearly 45 years here at Royal Spa. How do you always think that magnesium, obviously, and Epsom salts,
right.
and you always worry that how did you build this where it's not clogging things in within the tub itself, the life expectancy of a Royal Spa that we can float in, or a float tub or a float
Well,
pod.
that's exactly what needs to be asked, because a normal hot tub can't have Epsom salts in it, because the slight increase in the thickness or the viscosity of the water will stop the filter from working if you're sucking it through the filter. But because we push through the filter, we can take a minor magnesium solution and drive it through that filter. Now, you mentioned the float tanks earlier. They have 6 pounds per gallon of Epsom salts in them.
Wow, that's a lot.
If we did that in a hot tub like this one, we would only be able to penetrate the surface about 4 inches, and then we'd be
Oh,
freezing
wow.
to death sitting on top. And so that's why the solutional densities are lower in a hot tub with the Epsom salts, but it's still plenty to absorb. And so when we're talking about fortifying a hot tub
Hmm.
against magnesium, we need to be able to push through the filter. We need a magnetically impelled motor, which is what we use to make our hot tubs super quiet and super energy efficient. See, people don't understand that if a motor is running normally, it can draw as much as $70 a month in electricity just to circulate the water in a hot tub. So we went to a special motor that only draws 64 watts of power. So it will only draw $5 worth of electricity. So when we're $62 or $65 cheaper per month,
Hmm.
that's why we call our hot tubs hybrids, because we are 90% more energy efficient than the next hot tub that you would see. So I can show you just with math that my hot tub is tens of thousands of dollars cheaper over its life expectancy than any other hot tub you can buy. And people don't like math sometimes.
Tell us about, though, you've been about the buyers and what they tell you when they purchase one of your float tanks, one of your or your pods. Tell us about what they have, how they benefited.
Well, when you see a person that has been able to take in all that magnesium and give every healthy cell in their body
Hmm.
a magnesium signature, you find them reporting all kinds of changes in their experience with life. Because if your brain can see the good guys, then it knows who the bad guys are. So
Yeah,
it can fix a lot of arthritis. It can fix inflammatory
it's
situations
amazing.
because it can finally see that that's going on. Because with the amount of sugar and the amount of salt that's in our diet, your brain can't tell the good guys from the bad guys. And so it gets so frustrating to see your friends that don't try Epsom salts to help with their afflictions. I can't move my elbows anymore. I said, well, why wouldn't you soak your feet in Epsom salts and use a hot tub with Epsom salts and even get in a float tank in order to attract that?
Yeah,
Well, I just don't have time. Well, to make yourself better seems like something I would make time for, and
yeah,
any chance I got.
yeah.
And when we look at our experiences in life, we have tried different things to make ourselves feel better, and hopefully we stuck with the ones that worked.
True.
It's amazing how
That's right.
people, they quit doing
That's
something
right.
that was working
That's
great for
right.
them.
I can't wait to have one myself. I mean, I really would love to have a tub or a pod using those Epsom salts, because I know the true benefits. I know I've heard the stories from some of your clients that have purchased one and said that it's changed their life, truly changed their life.
There's a guy down in Fort Myers that had stage 3 pancreatic cancer, and he swears that the only part of his life that he changed was to use Epsom salts in one of
Yeah,
my tanks.
I believe
And
it.
he is completely untraceable now. And so I'm not going to do tens of millions of dollars worth of studies on him to be able to say it in
Right,
some clinical study.
right.
But just to have people tell me that they couldn't sleep and that they had a pain of 9.5, and that the Epsom salts that was in the tank that they got from Royal Spa has taken them to where they're sleeping through the night with a pain of 4, and their wife likes them again.
Mm,
Because these guys with PTSD they're carrying a lot of damage that isn't necessarily visible. And so if their body can fix itself through the use of one of my hot tubs or one of my flotation tanks with Epsom salts, that's the cat's meow. That's when we really feel like we're doing what we're here for, is
yeah,
to help others.
yeah. You still have swim spas. You still do, you manufacturing all that you do.
Well, the swim spas have been going great, and a recent addition is the cold plunges. And
Oh,
so,
the cold plunges. Let's talk about that for a minute because I really do see, um, again, I hear the benefits of a cold plunge. I don't know if that's for me, but tell us about them.
well, you know that we have had saunas available over the years, and saunas make your medulla say, "Oh, I'm being roasted, and I have to raise my metabolism way up so that I can burn calories that I never would have burned, and I can clear stuff out of my pores that is dangerous for it to be in." Because there's carcinogens that build up in your skin over
Which is
time.
an organ, everybody. That's
That's
your
right. That's your
largest
larger.
organ.
That's right. And then you go to the cold side of it. You go, what could the cold possibly do?
Yeah.
Well, it thinks that you just slid off the Titanic and you're about to freeze.
Oh
And
man.
so this vagus nerve kicks in and drives energy into your vital organs to protect your vital organs when you're in a cold plunge. And it converts all of the brown fat that's stored on any human. And there are these people called girls that store brown fat in these little teeny pustules on their legs and on their body.
Maybe I should try one.
And it is amazing that it converts everything and pulls it out, and you are a lean, mean fighting machine
How does
when
it
you
work?
get
How do
done.
you what the size of them? Is it just for one person
Yeah,
that's
the
in a
cold
cold plunge?
plunges are just so cold that you can only go in for 3 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
And so a veteran will stay in for 10 minutes. Oh, that was great. I'm like, wow.
Listen, it's very trendy right now. I mean,
It
people
is.
really are looking for them, and you've got them at Royal Spa.
Well, you can see that everything that Royal Spa makes is tied together. So a swim spa is just a really big hot tub, and a cold plunge is a really little hot tub. And because we make all the baptismal tanks for the United States military, the cold plunge is just a more comfortable baptismal tank. And so,
Really?
yes, we put the filter up on top because our baptismal tanks people have to lay back in, and not so much in a cold plunge. So we put a slope back in that one.
What's the temperature of a cold
A
plunge?
cold plunge runs between 38 and 50.
And 50.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds better.
Well, we try and break you in at 50, but I tell you what, a lady came in the other day and she insisted on 38 degrees because she's one of those polar bear plunge people.
Oh
And
yeah,
she was
sure.
completely satisfied, and she's getting one at her house
Oh
very
my
shortly.
gosh. Well, we are sitting in a Royal Spa hot tub right now, and this is a beauty. This one seats how many? Where are we? We've got how many in
Well,
this one? This is pretty good size.
everything about my experience has been to fill people's bills, if you will. There was a hot tub that I made that held 7 people. And they said, "Can you make one that holds 8?" So this one holds 8.5 people.
8.5.
Yes. So the reason for
Okay.
that is that as we've been in business since the 80s, people are having children later and later and later in life. And so you needed a seat for a toddler. So there's a seat right over there in the corner that
There
allows a
is a
toddler
little
to
one.
sit there and have a place to sit.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
but then you soon learn that children do not sit down in a
Yeah.
hot tub. They just jog around in circles.
Oh my
And so,
gosh.
but over the years, in the 70s, we were all trying to make the bowl stand up. So
Right.
now we know that the bowl will outlast the owner. So the bowl's got a 40-year warranty on it because you can't break it, and water can't trash it, and chemicals can't trash it. And so the bowl will outlast you and I. And then the design of the hot tub, trying to make it stand up against what kills a normal hot tub. A normal hot tub is killed by moisture from underneath, critters and insects from underneath, and just being frozen in our weather. So it was always weird to me that people would buy a hot tub that was designed for California's weather and then be surprised when ours destroyed it.
Wow,
Because
that's
it might
true.
be
I never thought about
might
it,
be
but you're
something there
right.
that you ought to think about.
Yeah.
And so a Royal Spa has all flexible PVC, and it's designed to where if someone froze it solid, that it would be a fairly inexpensive repair in order to make it go again.
Wow.
Whereas you freeze a tub that was made in Mexico or California,
Yeah.
you're buying a new one.
I'll tell you, we have a pool and we have a Royal Spa hot tub. We get more use out of the hot tub here in the Midwest, here in Indiana, for sure. And if I had it to do again, I would just simply have the hot tub to use year round. The pool we get some use out of, but not, we really use it for maybe a couple of months
Yeah,
out of the year
three
because
months of
it's got to
use and
get
9 months
warm
of
and
maintenance.
right, and it's a lot. And this has just been such a perfect buy for us. And so I'm thrilled with the Royal Spa hot product, or with the Royal Spa product. And I know everybody else will be too. This is where you stop to get that hot tub or a float tank or a float pod or whatever else you've got here. And it's amazing to watch where you were when you started nearly 45 years ago to where you are now. And I'm proud of you and I'm excited for you. And he's a good businessman and a good human being. And Thank you for letting me come out here and sit in your big hot tub.
You're welcome. You can see.
Anything else you want anybody to know that's watching?
Well, I'm always at the shows. I'm at the bar and patio show and
Sure.
the home shows and the state fair because I love to talk to people about what they are experiencing with their hot tubs. And some of them, like you say, have had them for 40 years.
Yeah.
But all of these tubs are wish I would-has. Someone's come in and said, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I could have done that. And about 2006 is when the big transition happened to where people went from listening to their customers and trying to provide exactly what they needed with the lowest maintenance and the best customer experience possible to being controlled by marketeers who say, we have to make the filter proprietary so that they can't get it from anywhere else. And we need to make a computer have a die-on date where the computer actually already knows when it's going to die that they can sell them a new computer for between $1,100 and $2,200. And it won't work if you don't have a new computer. Mine has two $9 contactors and a couple of switches inside of it that will operate as long as you do. And so you can will it to your ancestors.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. The questions, if anybody is considering getting a hot tub or a float tank or doing the cold plunge, when they come in here, take us through the process, if you would, on what you need to have in your brain before you go out and shop for one, and then once you get into a showroom, where do you go? Because it can be, you've got a lot to choose from.
Right. Well, we want to know from you when you first walk in, how many people you want to put into it, where you want to put it, what you expect it to do, and whether or not you've ever had an experience with it before and how that went. Because all of that feedback comes into, if we got to go through a doorway, then we've got dimensions that we are really strapped to. Right.
We were totally engulfed in trees, very big, giant, mature trees all around the house. But because of they just know, how to get it in, and we couldn't figure out how they could do it. And that's what's so great about working with somebody that's been in the business for as long as you have.
When people being able to sit in the tank before they buy it too is astronomically valuable, because you cannot imagine how many people have bought a hot tub that they saw sitting up on its edge in some display, and when they get it home, the water's only up to their navel.
It's interesting. You're right.
Freeze to death with that kind of hot tub.
You're right.
So there's just mistakes that can be made, and with a video like this, they can watch and they can realize, I never even thought about the 5 rules that Bob talked about, and I never thought about that. But when you get on Facebook and you look at Marketplace and you see a hot tub for $500, that person paid $8,000, $9,000 for that tank, and they're throwing it away 2 years later because they didn't understand that they were going to have to just lay it home with all kinds of chemicals and all kinds of filter repairs. And every time that they got a voltage surge or a lightning strike, it didn't work anymore. And after a couple of really bad bouts, they say, this needs to go to the curb. Yeah. And that's not what people relate to me when they talk about their Royal Spa experience. They're saying, oh my gosh, there's a new toy. What's going on?
It's so easy to take care of. Truly easy to take care of. Right. And as far as, we get them for relaxation is what you first think, relaxation and fun and all of that. But when you really realize the benefits of what you have to offer here, it's much, much more than just the moment of relaxation. Truly.
It's got to be a good experience, or you will not tell your friends to come and see me, and that's what we're going for.
That's what we're going for. All right, we done?
I think we're good.
I think we're done. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching.
Thank you.